Hello, everyone. We are so excited. Today we have Eric Martinez and Chris Martinez. If you haven't been able to figure it out just by looking at them, they are twins. So the good thing we have their names under them. Otherwise, you would not be able to tell them apart. And so we are going to be talking all about a digital brand, social media, content mind shifts, and so much more. So Chris and Eric, welcome.
Chantel, thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it. And very excited to deliver a bunch of value and just a lot of nuggets to your listeners.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about a professional and personal brand on social media. One of the things you guys talk about is content mind shifts that you need to acquire when you're building a professional or personal brand. So talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely get started with that because the foundation of just like social media, right? Everyone knows the importance of building a personal brand and just like a business brand, and everything is going online. So the biggest misconception that a lot of people get into when they're going into creating content is they look at this as social media, right? As like just a social platform to engage with a bunch of people and pretty much people pleasing, try to get everyone to like them. It's the total opposite, guys. You guys want to acquire a mindset of looking at this as business media. This is your guys' business platform to sit there and start conversations and secretly lead people to the next step to take action in the context of real estate and educate them and, become home buyers, investment, all that stuff.
So are you saying really to help them to niche down so that they can find what their niche is instead of trying to be all things to everyone?
Exactly. Once you have that down, and we'll break this all down, it's more around just figuring out who the audience is, the messaging, and what the offer is, and what makes you different as a real estate agent. Because let's be honest, there's thousands upon thousands of realtors out there, brokers, all that. So it's like you have to be a little bit different. And it's just like, how do you get people to know, like, and trust you, right? Keyword trust. The new digital currency is trust when it comes to Instagram, Facebook, all these social platforms. So yes, by acquiring that mindset of business media, you're now more intentional of the content that you're creating and putting out there to people that's speaking right to that audience. I think to add to that too, Chantel, I was going to say really quick is like, if you need to be a content producer, not a consumer, right? Because there's so many people that like are scrolling and stuff like that. So with you guys being real estate agents and wanting to consume content, you have to reframe your mindset to be content producers, not consumers, right? So with that, you have to get the emotion out to where it's like you're just chasing a bunch of likes and comments, right? So many of your guys' buyers will actually be people that are actually just lurking, that are just like watching your videos or just like reading your guys' captions. They might not even like it. They might not even comment. So that shouldn't prohibit you guys from being like, hey, I'm not going to post just because I'm not getting the magical number of likes and comments that I want. Like, and that's what so many people sit there and refrain from like content production is because of that. They're so stuck on numbers, KPIs, all that stuff.
What I'm thinking about that's coming up for me is when I was younger, I just had so many friends. Like I literally had, I would be, Wednesday I'd be with this one. And every time I did a party, it was like with 20, 30, 50 people. It was just kind of like that. And, Jesus had 12 disciples. And so I just kind of really have dialed it in where I'm like, I've got a smaller core group of friends. And these are people that I really want to pour into. And so it's just kind of narrowing that window and kind of really doing the quality instead of quantity is what that makes me think of. So can you share you said there's two content mind shifts. So one of them is kind of niching down. What's the other one?
Yeah, so the first one was transitioning from social media and looking at this as your guys' business media and platform. The other one was you are now the content producer, you're not the consumer. So the consumer spends mindless hours of just scrolling, going down rabbit holes, causing paralysis by overanalysis. The content producer is the action taker. They're intentional. They understand this is a business platform. They're trying to generate conversations, which more conversations, you guys know as realtors, lead to more conversions.
So what is the 3-step digital brand formula that you guys have created?
That's a great question. And I'm going to share my screen just to show you guys what this looks like visually. But this is what the 3-step digital brand formula looks like. So if you take this in the context of you guys as being real estate agents, it starts off here on the left side of this as your guys' audience, right? So some examples for you for realtors can be, people that are veterans, right? They're seeking VA loans, first-time home buyers, right? Or even empty nesters. That can be your guys' audience. With the audience, it's really just niching down, okay? From there, once we understand who the audience is, we go down to your messaging. This is where so many people get it wrong because everything's in the messaging, right? And that's really just context plus your conviction as a real estate agent. And with that, it's getting into the psychology of the audience here. So if you're working with empty nesters, well, your messaging can't be about first-time home buyers. It can't be about VA loans. It's got to be very specific to this audience to match like their pain points, their wants, their frustrations, their desires, right, within their home. From there, if you get that right with really having the audience dialed in with the messaging, that's going to be a more clear offer that you have as a real estate agent to be able to sell.
Okay.
That makes sense?
So yeah, absolutely. So let's pretend. So one of the things that I've been seeing a lot is people wanting to bring their mother-in-law or their mother to move in with them. That's a big trend right now. Going into nursing homes is a really big thing. And so, that could be a niche that someone could try to attract. And so, how if using that as a platform, right? Because like instead of someone spending $10,000 to $15,000 a month to put their mother or mother-in-law into a nursing home, you say something like, do you want a free list of homes that have a mother-in-law suite so you could move your mother into your home instead of having to put her into a home or something like that? Give us some concrete examples.
Yeah. So like an example like that would be like, we'll first start with the audience, right? And what we're trying to do is like find those people that, are in that situation where they're trying to bring in the mother-in-law, the father-in-law to live with them and not go off and, spend a lot of money into like a retirement home or something else. So it's like, again, is it men? Is it women? What's the age ranges? What's their occupation? So now you have data to go off of as to like narrowing it down more and just really finding these people on social platforms. Then the messaging is like, okay, give some pros and cons to, mother-in-laws and father-in-laws living in different like environments and give them, reasons why they should live with them under that roof and save money. What are some of that, like, what's like the top like 5 things to do, not to do within that. And then again, it's like, what's like that offer? What's that irresistible offer? And what's the big payoff for this person to take action and want to learn more about this and get their mother-in-law and father-in-law to live under their own roof as opposed to going somewhere else?
Okay, great. So what are the 5 phases that you guys have created of content marketing?
Okay, let's dive into this because it's going to be really helpful for you guys as realtors, right? So the first 2 here, these are some of the most important ones right here, foundational. So the very first one is just you pick a channel and you post. So let's just say that, we have this in a context of just using Instagram and Facebook, which I think is great for realtors. There's billions of people on each of these platforms. So there's no reason you can't utilize these. So let's say you pick Instagram, right? So then from there, we just post. We don't have to get too crazy with the social media calendar. We don't have to get super strategical or intentional at this point. We just have to pick a channel and we just have to post. That's all we have to do. Just build like that courage, break any of those limiting beliefs that are holding us down for phase 1. Phase 2 is we just post consistently. So if we pick Instagram, cool. Maybe we sit there and dedicate Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you just want to have your audience understand that you're going to be consistent. You're going to show up for them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that's all we have to do for phase 1 and 2 is just pick a channel, post, and then start posting consistently. Now, if we move to phase 3, 4, and 5, okay, we're stepping it up a little bit, right? We have some reps and sets under us. So if we go to phase 3, you open up a new channel. So if you've been posting on Instagram Monday, Wednesday, Friday, cool. Let's open up Facebook. Since it's both meta and it doesn't have to be too crazy, like with like the actual content creation, just post what you did on Instagram on Facebook now. And if we move to step 4 here, you increase the posting frequency. So if we're posting on Facebook and Instagram Monday, Wednesday, Friday, maybe let's insert Tuesday, Thursday. So now we're posting 5 days a week. That's all we're doing for phase 4. Phase 5, that's more it's like, okay, we have some reps and sets, we got some traction, we got some confidence built, we have some engagement. We might need a team involved here because it's going to be a lot of work, right? And that's okay. You've actually earned your way up there. This is where you start creating more, you innovate more on channels. Maybe you open up a YouTube, a podcast, a TikTok, a LinkedIn, whatever it is, email marketing. But that's really the 5 phases of content. And if I look at it this way, guys, really quick, phase 1 through 2, that is purely just to get people to know, like, and trust you as realtors. That's it. There's no other objection. Now, if we do phase 3 through 5, that's where it's like we're moving a stranger to a friend to a buyer, and we're doing more call to actions, and we're getting people in conversations to get them to buy. That's what the intention is for phase 3 through 5. Yeah. And really quick, just to add to these 5 phases, just to understand, like you're playing the long game with this, with content marketing and becoming, just good content creators. And again, we're all going to suck at first. Chris and myself, we were terrible at first, but again, we committed to the process of just getting better and better. And it's just like the old saying, every master was once a disaster. So it doesn't matter like where you guys are at. It's the key. The important thing is to start and commit to this and get better as you guys go.
So I think, to me, what really people are missing, okay? And every time I talk to a friend of mine, I have a friend of mine who has bought and sold a couple of houses in another state, and we're in 20 states right now, but the particular area that she's buying, we're not open in that state. And she ended up just choosing a realtor without contacting me first, which I always remind her what a nightmare that was. But anyway, and she's given me all these nightmare stories. And I think, to me, this is what's missing in people's social media. So for example, if I was doing videos, I would do videos like, you guys, I had someone that I know that used another realtor and another company, and this is what happened. She was going to sell her home. She had it beautifully staged. And then what happened is her realtor did not advise her about doing something called a seller possession agreement. And what that means is that you wait. If your house is gorgeous and beautiful and you've got everything perfect, you should definitely be doing a seller possession agreement just for a day. And what that means is you literally put the house, you sell it, you wait 1 day after you close, you rent it back from the buyer for 1 day, and then you remove all your stuff. Because what she did is, as soon as she got the contract, the agent didn't tell her, she moved all that staging, moved all her furniture. The house looked beautiful. And then the deal fell through. And then guess what? Now the house looked like, just a vacant, empty house with kind of holes on the wall and didn't look good. So you don't want that to happen. You need an agent that's going to tell you these kind of things. Call me, I'll get you straight. So it's kind of like creating this nightmares, and sharing those nightmares are really, really powerful, because we're like, if you use an agent that doesn't understand these kind of things, behold, I've told you. That's all I have to say. You see what I'm saying? And now people are like, oh crap, I don't want that to happen to me. So right now, I'd love for you guys to type in the chat some other kind of nightmares, but give us some other kind of things like that. Because like, to me, that's powerful content. That, to me, would make me go, I got to use that person. What else can they do to make sure that it's like a heavy hitting punch, that they're going to be like, yes, I've got to use that person?
Yeah. I think it goes back to like that formula we talked about, like the messaging part. Once you find your audience, that's what's so great about the messaging. Like really, like the magic is in the messaging, because it is the conviction on there. And when you just talked about that story, that's pure conviction, to where it's like, you're just speaking your truth, where it's like, why would you go use anybody else? Like, you use me because of my experience, my expertise as a realtor. And that's just speaking your truth through your content creation. That's why I love about it. And that's why it has to be that audience match with the messaging.
Yeah. And then once you tie in just like your authenticity as a person, your values, your morals, your likes, dislikes, what you stand for, that's the best part, is because then people will gravitate towards you and relate to those things. And then they're like, okay, well, Chantel's my person, Justin's my person, Christopher, Joe, I'm going to go with them because of X, Y, Z.
Yes. What else? What else can they do to really make sure that because I see people all the time putting these posts that is just like, give us a couple examples of like a bad post so they can really understand, like, no, this is terrible, take it down. Can you think of anything?
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to Chris, to share the screen and just go through these 7 different posts. And this is what we came up with for you guys, because we get that a lot, to where it's like, well, they're like, Chris and Eric, like, this sounds great, but it's like, I have no clue where to start and what to post. And we're like, okay, well, we're going to give you 7 different posts that you can test and rotate. And, the data doesn't lie. Just test them out and see what happens.
Yeah. So if I walk through these, right, the first one is a connection style post. So connection style posts, if you see an example here, it's just really talking about yourself, really, and that's the thing is people buy people. So it could be about your story as like how you came up as a realtor, like why you got into, real estate. It could be talking about your family. It could be talking about your values, like what you stand for, so it's anything outside the expertise of like real estate. That's what's great about connection posts. People love that. Value-based posts. Now that's more of like you being a realtor and your expertise, right? So again, it could be 5 reasons, why you should take advantage of a VA loan. It could be, 10 reasons why empty nesters should do X, Y, Z. Those are all just value-based posts where you're just giving value and just a bunch of nuggets for people so that people see your expertise in exchange for value. The next one on here is more of, scroll up, is a threat post. So the threat post, that's really just talking about, things that you dislike about like the industry. And that's okay, to sit there and talk about things you don't like about your industry, or maybe it's like the niche of like working with VA loans or first-time home buyers. And it's okay. You're repelling people away, it's called repel-based marketing. And that works as well too. So it doesn't always have to be things where it's like pure value. It can also be threat posts where you're repelling people away, talking about things you don't like in the industry as well too.
Okay. So let's go back to the post about your family, because I think a lot of times you can tie in your family into your work, right? Like that, tying the two of them together really works out well, because anytime you put like a personal picture of you guys, but then can somehow tie it with work, how could someone do that with real estate?
Yeah. And that's where you're just showing just like who you are as a person, and your values and what's important to you in your life. And again, it's the same thing. Like I said in the beginning, people buy people, right? It's the know, like, trust factor. That's really what it is. I mean, so it's like, let's say you have a real estate agent that has a family and that doesn't, right? That person might be like, okay, I'm going to go with the person that has a family because I'm a family person. So I relate with that person's values, their morals, and just kind of like their beliefs, as opposed to the other person that doesn't. And it's not right or wrong. It's just, that's what goes to show is there's so many people out there that you can connect with, but it's just all about putting yourself out there and just being genuine about it and just, sharing all these things.
So you guys have 7 different forms of content, but then you also created like a dynamic content calendar. Explain that.
Yeah. So with this content calendar, this really just kind of helps you map things out. So where it's like you take one of those 7 forms of content. So the 7 forms of content solves the problem to where you're like, oh, okay, I know exactly what I'm posting. I don't know what to post. So that solves the problem for that. And then really with this, it's just all about the frequency you want to post. Do you want to post Monday through Friday? Do you want to post, 3 times a week? So you choose that. Then it's like you choose the platform, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram. And then the creative part on here, that's where it's like, okay, what's your strong suit? Are you better at writing? Are you better at video? Are you better at audio? So if you understand which one you're good at, let's just say you pick video and you pick Instagram, cool. So then we're going to take advantage of lives on video. We're going to take advantage of stories, pre-recorded videos, and we're going to just post that form of creative on Instagram. We're not going to mess with like written posts. We're not going to mess with anything else. We're going to stick to our strong suit. We're going to stick to the frequency Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we know exactly what to post on there. Maybe it's a connection style post that we go live on. Maybe it's a value-based post that we do stories on. So with this dynamic content calendar, it just keeps you with structure, discipline. It has a system that leads to consistency on posting.
Yeah, it just makes things more intentional, and just the strategy behind it. Like you are no longer just thinking on the go. And what we call that is pretty much like, half-ass posting, and that's something you don't want to do. I would rather have quality over quantity when it comes to posting. And by doing this and implementing a system like this, keyword system, it just makes things a lot easier. It makes life easier, and it makes you actually enjoy creating content and not dreading it.
Yeah, I think, people teaching people the tips and advice is really super powerful, and people are not doing it. Like things, hey guys, I just wanted to remind you, a lot of people don't know about this or that in real estate. And so basically, that's the piece that people are not doing. They're not educating, and they have that knowledge in their head, and that's what people follow. Like what I think has gotten so overrated is like this picture of me with Susie and Bobby and being like, just sold another one. It's just like, it's like ad nauseum. And you can do that every once in a while, but that just gets really old fast. But what never gets old is education and like teaching people tips and tricks of what to do. So I'll ask you guys. So give me something that you would want to know more about, like in the real estate space that you think would be a great post. Tell me what that would be.
Yeah, I think what would be great too is just like being honest. Like, hey, like, this sale didn't come through, or it's been a longer sales cycle than I anticipated, and talking about your mistakes. And people like that type of stuff because it brings you down to like reality, to where it's like, okay, like if you see somebody's grid, Chantel, where it's a bunch of wins like that, where they just close, it's like that just creates like, basically it's all about you. That's fine, like you said, to do case studies, results-driven marketing, but you sprinkle that stuff in. But if you were to see there and go down the grid and you're like, you see things where it's like, oh, I made this mistake as a real estate agent, oh, I screwed up, or I had a bad month. When you talk about that stuff, it's just real meets real, in my opinion. And that's what it is. That's what marketing is. It's just relatability, and you sharing that on social media. That brings people in and they gravitate towards you because you're a human. You make mistakes just like everybody else.
Just being vulnerable.
Exactly.
I think being vulnerable to a degree is good. I don't know that I would want to hire someone who was like, oh, I just had another bad month, or, something like that. I don't think I'd want to hire someone like that. But I think really talking about things like, I'll give you an example of one person I know that they bought a house where it had an easement, meaning it had a driveway, and the driveway, one house is on the left, and then they share a driveway and the other house is up here. And really what needed to happen is like, they can't stand the other guy that's over here, right? And so you can give that example. So I want to share a story. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you are, joining, driveways, in any situation, it's really a good idea for you, if you're buying a house, to maybe just knock on the door yourself and meet the neighbors. Like, find out, like, you can kind of tell if someone's crazy right off the bat. Like, if you're pretty close to that neighbor, knock on the door before you get out of the contract and be like, hey, I'm thinking about buying this house. I just wanted to say hi and meet you. Because the last thing you want to do is be next to, Mr. Cuckoo Puff, So just all those kind of things. Now people want to follow you and follow your page.
Yeah.
It's super important.
Can I share one more example too? Like, I think a lot of you guys can implement this now. And this is something we did about a month ago here in the DFW area, working with several real estate agents in a local workshop that we did all around this. And we had one real estate agent that was focused on just first-time home buyers. And we said, hey, why not create like a checklist, or just like a list of like, hey, the 5 pros and cons to first-time home buying, and just put it out there on Instagram and Facebook and say, hey guys, I'm giving away this free, checklist PDF on first-time home buyers, the pros and cons. Would you like it? That simple. And just get a bunch of people to say yes and hand raise, send them that PDF.
But the key is to only DM them that PDF.
Exactly. Yeah. And that sets you up to, again, circle back in a day or two. Hey, can you just give me the feedback? Give me some feedback on the PDF. What did you like, not like? And then that's a beautiful conversation to move to a phone call, and then maybe a Zoom call, or maybe meet with them in person. And hey, that's where the magic happens.
I want to tell you, one of the reasons why I joined and I just love Canzel is that I can get 100% commission, I get revenue share, and I get stock. I am making thousands of dollars every single month in revenue share and stocks. And I now don't have to work nights and weekends on real estate anymore. I've actually never been to a real estate agent's retirement party, and I want to be the first one that people are coming to at a young age. And I want to share with you some of my favorite resources. So if you go to joincanzel.com/free, there's a couple that I want you to download. One is a 20 free lead generating PDF. It's going to help you generate leads for free that you can download, as well as there's one on how to double your business. I don't want you to miss it. Go download it today. joincanzel.com/free.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, I just went to go look at a house, and the buyer put in $1 million into this pool. So I could have to do a post that says, this is a picture of this. This guy put in $1 million into this pool. It's unbelievable. It's got every bell and whistle. Okay, that is the dumbest way for you to spend $1 million. There's no way he will ever recoup that. And while it's beautiful, it's dumb. So doing that, like I could send you guys a picture of that pool. You guys could say, this guy spent over $1 million on his pool. That was a terrible use of money. It gets them, it flashes that. So when you see that pool, you're like, dang, right? And then you go, but this was a terrible use of money. Before you do anything on your house, you don't even have to be ready to sell. Please call me. I will tell you if this is going to be a good use of money, and it will actually give you the ROI, the return on investment on actually doing this item or not. Before you do it, you don't even have to be able to sell. I want to be that resource for you. Contact me. Here's my number. Just shoot me a text or call me and I'll say yes or no. I'll tell you the honest truth and I'll let you know if that's going to be a good use of your money or not. Right? Yeah. Like, so then you'd be like, yeah, I want to work with that person. She cares about me. You don't have to be looking to sell right now. Don't worry about it. Call me. I want to save you that money because I don't want you to spend a ton of money when this isn't going to work for you, right? Like you're never going to get this money back. I will tell you the honest truth. Call me. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah.
That's such an intriguing story too. Is like somebody spent $1 million at a pool, that's going to grab people's attention when they see that, when they're scrolling, it's like,
yes. And especially if you see like the videos of it and all of that, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. So I know that you guys are doing a course that you guys are doing. Tell us about how people can kind of get into your minds and learn more about you, because you guys have really made this a field of expertise for you. How do they learn more and get into a little bit deeper dive?
Yeah, definitely. Chris, if you can share that. But guys, hopefully that you guys have gotten some value. I know it's been a short time and this is way more extensive, it goes way further like in depth with just like, than 20, 30 minutes. But you can first follow us on Instagram at Chris and Eric Martinez. I put that in the chat. Get some ideas of what we do and just like some real life stuff. But again, we actually did a workshop like this, like I mentioned, about a month ago for about 30 agents here in the DFW area. And this was live in person. So this time we're going to do a Zoom one. And again, it's all around a 60-day personal brand playbook. And it's really just to, again, help you guys increase your visibility and recognition, prime your guys' profiles, how and what to post on Facebook and Instagram, the 5 pillars of know, like, trust, 7 days of questions, 24 done-for-you social media posts for your guys' just expertise and realtors to plug and play, a content calendar you guys are going to walk away with for the next 60 days so you don't have to think of what to post, how to get more leads, how to just have, done-for-you scripts to plug and play. And again, just some posts that you guys can just implement right away. And I'll tell you really quick, we did this a month ago. We had one realtor. She primed her whole Facebook. We had a whole Canva done for you just to plug and play. We told her to post a couple things and some scripts, and she had 5 leads within that 3 hours of people just that already expressed interest in real estate. So all this stuff it's proven. We've tested it. We've been doing it for over 14 years. So yeah, we're offering this to you guys via Zoom. And really the next steps on how to do this, if you scroll down, that's the investment for the 3-hour Zoom workshop. And then if you guys are interested, simply just text us at 213. You guys can take a screenshot of that, 213-319-6702, and just text the word workshop. And we'll be in touch. But yeah, we're planning on holding this in the next 2 weeks, which should probably be at the end of June. But we'd love to have you guys.
With that, we can also type that information in the chat right now. That would be wonderful.
Sure.
Well, this has been great. Thank you guys so much for being with us.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a rating and a review so we can get this out to more agents. And tune in next week for another power-packed episode. This is the Millionaire Real Estate Podcast.